Welcome to Forest Alchemy, where love, land, and community converge in a dance of wild creativity.
We're Mike and Allie, forest dwellers and soul partners, sharing stories and projects from our permaculture community homestead. Come gather by the fire, and let's explore the magic of connection, creation, and the living land. All right, we're going to do another episode. I don't know what number it is.
Yeah,
So it's just this episode.
Yeah, 7, 8, 6, I no idea.
So we're here at our first Skillshare event weekend, Root to Rise, which was amazing, and we gathered the most amazing group of humans.
We brought in the best people to this, so we decided we wanted to sit down with some of them, the ones that stayed the whole weekend, or a handful of the people that stayed the whole weekend. And so we're going to ask them, we love to talk to people about community, so we're going to ask them what community means to them, and then what community meant for them this weekend, or was for them this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking popcorn style. Whoever wants to.
So I don't know, do I say my name or, so I'm Lauren. Okay, let's just take that. I am very deeply appreciative of this weekend as we have some property and we have some plans and some things that we want to have in place, and have felt very kind of lost in whether we were going to still do it or not after some life transitions recently. We took some time and meditated on it and really talked about it and decided, we are actually now have the energy to move forward with this. But also didn't know where to start. And we've talked about how community is going to be really important on our land, and gathering people, that are like-minded and not necessarily always like-minded in all the same ways, but open people that are open to learning new things and sharing. And I feel like this weekend we got that. We met some new people and made some new connections, and hopefully made some lifetime friendships where, it's been very give and take, and I've learned some things, and I just feel deep gratitude. So I want to thank you both for opening up your place to having a bunch of strangers come in and not knowing what you're going to end up with. And everybody, I feel, it really found their place here and kind of contributed. Everybody contributed something, and that was really beautiful.
Yeah, our mission is to find the others, and we are slowly doing that.
Yeah, by the way, this doesn't have to go in a circle. It can be popcorn style, whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah, it really is. Hi, I'm Anthony. It's so easy in the modern world to lose hope, lose faith, give up, and just say, the whole world's swirling down the drain. Why bother? And, Lauren and I are at a point in our lives where, I've been an empty nester for a while. She's becoming one now. And, we now have the time and other resources where we can do more, give more back. But at the same time, man, we're tired, and when you feel like so many things end with your generation and that the younger generations don't care or, aren't equipped or whatever, it can be disheartening. And so to come together with other people who actually do care and actually, are still in the fight, haven't given up, aren't just gonna lay down and die or whatever and let the world burn. It's reinvigorating. It's it restores your faith in humanity and makes you want to get up for the next round. And that's really what we're about right now. Is we're trying to make a place where like-minded people can get together, do events, share what they know, And that's really community. I mean, that's what community is all about, is to offer what you have, to share what you have, and, you know, to value what other people have, you know, and what they bring to the table, what they've learned, the insights they've made, the perspectives that we just never would have gotten to on our own. You know, just like, oh my God, that blows my mind. I never looked at it like that. Lauren and I were just talking about that last night, and you know how important and how valuable that is. So I'm deeply grateful to you guys for doing this, and I hope you'll continue doing this. And you know, this cross-pollination, and you know, meeting people that you likely never would have met. You know, and taking away all these different insights, and you know, just getting the wind back in your sails. You know, it's valuable. I don't even remember what we paid to do this, but it was worth it. Whatever, you know, whatever it was well worth it.
Nothing in the grand scheme of things, really, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh gosh.
Start with your name.
I know, but I don't feel like that. So I'm just going to start by saying I am, like the others, I'm grateful. It's not often, and I operate on a different, sometimes I want to say it's a different freaking plane than other people sometimes. I don't really operate on an emotional level a lot of times. I'm really logical about things, even emotion. So it's hard to communicate and connect with people because I think they think I'm abrasive or loud or irritating, and maybe all of those things sometimes.
Sometimes those
too
things
much, and I don't. But I don't mean it. It's not really. If you listen in the quiet places, there's lots of them. There's a reason, you know. But I wanted to start with gratitude. I'm really grateful that I could be that person here, and because I'm just going to now. There's no other way I'm going to do it anymore, and I haven't for a long time. I mean, if you're okay, I'm okay, right? Yeah. So in the connectedness, being allowed to be an individual in the connectedness, but in your individuality is priceless. Yeah. To exchange and share information on a cellular level is arguably better than anything you can really describe to somebody. I mean, there is no logic behind it, right? I'm a logical creature, but it's really an emotion that you can't see. It's both. It can't be explained, but it was an awesome weekend. It was invaluable for me. My gig is the permaculture and the land and the medicine and the microcosms of things. I'm fascinated by things on a cellular level, on a molecular level. So everything small is infinite to me. It's in the small that we'll find the big. Do you know what I mean? And I never lost hope. I see the younger generation. I'm in between the baby boomers and what I would call, I guess, the Gen Xers, sort of. I'm more... The baby boomers pounded us, right? You have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do this. You got to get up, go to work, come home, get up, go to work, come home. More, bigger, better, badder. And then the generation below us, I'm not a baby boomer, I'm an Xer, but the generation below us, like you said, they make that you had lost hope. I didn't really feel like that, but on some level I understand what you're saying, but I started to see in them something that I hoped for myself. And that is the inability to suffer through something that you shouldn't have to ever. Yeah. I mean, go get them. It gives me chills to think about it. I put that in my son. Instead of putting in him I put in him the ability to do what he needs to do when he needs to do it without feeling that push-pull drive to be that peg in that hole. Something I wish somebody would have given me. And I see that in that generation. At first I thought it was indifference and, well, F you guys, I don't have a work moral or ethics. But no, you want to know what it is? They know their freaking worth. They're not going to do it. Yeah. They're not going to, and that can be harnessed for this, too. Yeah, right. It really can be. Well, it just takes a conversation with them. Yeah.
It's a sense of justice. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It
that,
is.
that
It
I
is.
applaud. There's a helplessness in a lot of, and I'm sure there was a lot of that in our generation too, that we just didn't choose to see or.
They didn't
or
give
what
us
have you.
what we have
But-
the ability to give them. You know,
But-
they
I
didn't
think it's
understand it.
It's like people realized that they didn't want to be on the hamster wheel anymore,
Right.
right? But
Right.
then nothing else was
But
there.
what's
Right.
there?
so
we
then
don't
they're
know
like,
how to
oh
do
shit,
it. Oh
I'm
shit!
drowning.
Right.
How do I pedal? There's no bike.
Yeah.
And I see so many people who are talking. They want to do this. They want to do this, but they can't.
But they don't
right
know
now.
how, and they can't right
They
now.
can't right now because this reason or this reason. I'm like, you can't not do this right now. Like this, to me, this
There
is
is
the
no
only
choice
option.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brought up something for me that's been kind of central. Like, I was taught to hunt and fish as a small boy by my father, who learned from his father, who learned from his. So these were skills passed from before civilization. And myself, you know, I became a vegan and whatnot as a young adult, and so I had a son one day, and I'm like, I don't want to take my son out and hunt and all that because I was raised not to kill anything I wasn't going to eat. And I'm not going to eat this, so I don't want to kill it. And so I made a conscious decision. I'm breaking 30,000 years of handed down from father to son. You know, like, that's not a decision you make lightly. You know, I'm cutting that chain, but at the same time, it's like, what do I give him in its place? You know? And how do I do that? And so I'm like making it up on the
Plants.
fly. You know, well, I taught him foraging and I taught him, field craft and this and that. But it's like,
What didn't you give him then?
it's, well, I mean, he never drank the blood of something he'd killed like I
I'm
did.
okay with that.
You know?
Yes.
I mean, well, I'm a vegan, and people are, oh, you're a vegan.
I fish.
You know, and like I drive motorcycles, so I've got more leather than I feel good about. You know, I've got a lot of leather. I've got a lot of guns. You know, I had a gun in my hand from the time I was big enough to hold one. And, I've eaten snakes and monkeys and
Why are
shit you
you
couldn't
vegan?
identify.
Can I ask that?
Yeah, well,
I'm just curious if it's a.
it started out mainly as a dietary thing.
Okay,
Like,
that's what
being
I
the
thought
youngest boy
initially.
in my family, I had to clean and gut
Oh,
and skin
yuck.
everything. And it's the most boring thing. You know, when you're 8, 9, 10 years old, you're just, oh, great,
Scraping
a
guts
bunch
off
more
something.
fish to scale and gut and all that. So to pass the time, I started like dissecting and whatnot. And I thought it'd be fun to look for things that don't belong there. You know, it's like, oh, a tumor, oh, a parasite, oh. And after a while, it's like, oh, God, I wish I had not started down this, because I can take anything.
And
I can
find-
take
and
an
find
animal,
the
or a
yuck.
fish, whatever, from anywhere.
That's
And in
wild.
5 minutes, I can
Find the
show
yuck.
you stuff that, like, yeah, I think I'm done here, you know. And for me, I just, like, I opted out. And then when I stopped eating meat, it took about 6 months to realize that, like, my temper was just gone. I came from a family with a violent, dangerous temper that was just there all the time. And to feel that dissipate and leave was, it was just incredible. And then with dairy, like, I nowadays I'll eat a little organic butter, but I went decades without touching anything that had any bit of dairy in it. And after a month of just no dairy whatsoever,
Systemic
it's like
situation.
right? No, I've always had like a bulletproof digestion.
Really?
I could eat stuff that make a goat puke, and it's like, nah,
I love goats.
it's like
with the
raw
trash
fish,
cans.
no problem. Raw, whatever, not a problem. But so it was never
Gross.
about digestion. For me, it was like just to finish the thought. When I stopped eating dairy, all of a sudden, I could not get tired anymore. I could work all day and then work all night. It's like I didn't wear out. I didn't run down. I had stamina
My
just that
sinuses
wouldn't
cleared
quit.
up.
And
Wow.
like, I hated running in the military. We had to run, like, do a 6-mile run to graduate boot camp. Like, I'll do it, but I won't like it. You know,
Love
it's like,
cheese and butter,
and
though.
I know.
but
Well,
man,
but it's just so important to listen to your body.
Yeah.
I know.
Because,
Yeah.
I know so many people that have had that experience, and I was vegan and got pregnant and had the opposite experience.
well,
You
I
needed
will
the
say,
fat.
Yeah.
back in those days, I didn't differentiate. Like, I didn't stop to think about. I wonder, to what extent pasteurization and
Yeah.
all these
Whether
chemical
raw
adjuvants
would
and
be
additives they're
different.
putting. Like, I didn't have a way, or even think about like trying. Like if I was doing it now, I probably would go from just whatever they sell at the grocery store to raw
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
cultured.
There's so many
To
factors.
see.
Right.
Yeah.
He's been
But-
doing this for 40 years.
To
so
logically,
that
eliminate.
access
Yeah.
to information was very
Right.
different.
It was a whole lot
Well-
different back
Well,
then.
and it's like what we were talking about before too. It's like you realize, like, okay, I don't want this, but then there's no. Okay, well, here's another option.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like
yeah.
okay, I just gotta take away this, but now I don't really know what I'm doing.
I was
so
eating
have
a
to
meat and
figure it
potatoes
out.
diet without the meat, so hey, potatoes, more potatoes.
Yeah.
It took a while.
Here's this chemical simulation of the meat thing that you were eating that's probably worse for you than the meat thing you were eating.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
been a thing. Different periods of my life. It's like, oh well, new can serve vegan. Yeah, well.
I've got this meme that I love. There are two types of vegan. Vegan one says, "This is pure chemicals." Vegan two is like, "Yes, but are they vegan?"
Right.
Vegan chemicals.
Are they vegan
That-
chemicals?
there are vegan like memes almost that as soon as people hear you're a vegan, like two vegans will look at each other and like 3, 2, 1. But where do you get your calcium?
Or your
Where do you
protein?
get your protein? I've always threatened, and now that AI is around, I might actually do this. I'm gonna get a meme of two cows standing at a fence talking, and one of them is gonna say, "I'm thinking of going vegan," and the other cow will say, "But where will you get your calcium?" I think that would be absolutely hysterical because people would be like, "Where do cows get their calcium?" They get it from grass, because green plants are full. But anyway, back to the original point, Ed. When I stopped eating dairy, that was immediate and profound. Within a month, all of a sudden, I was just like, hell, I want to run.
I'm really
I've never
close.
wanted to run in my life.
I'm really close to going back to raw.
Yeah.
I still ate meat in limited quantities, but I've never felt so good when I ate mostly raw and smaller portions. But I pretty much made almost, like I remember I was probably 30 pounds lighter. I had endless energy. This was just 4 years ago. And I remember like my stepmom saying, "Are you sure that was enough food for you?" And I'm like, oh my God, it was way more than enough.
Yeah.
Because in an hour and 20 minutes, I'm going to need to eat like 4 more pieces of fruit or something. Small fruit, like a stone fruit or something. But I ate. It wasn't even intentional. It's what my brain told my body to do. It was like, you're toxic right now. Enough of this bullshit.
I kind of played at going raw vegan for a while, and I didn't really plan. I didn't prepare. And I was doing like CrossFit with a bunch of 20-somethings, and I'm like in my 50s. But I thought, what the hell? While I'm
Why
doing
not?
this, I tried to do like a health experiment each year. It was like, okay, it's New Year's. What am I going to try this year? And so that year I decided, well, I'll try raw vegan. And dude, like even with a blender, I lost. I didn't have any weight to lose at the time, but I still lost like 35 pounds. I went at 6 feet. I went down to like 140. What was it? 142 pounds. Like I weighed more than that in 9th grade. Without a
your
scrap of
height,
fat
that
on me.
is
Yeah,
pretty-
I was like the most jacked skeleton you
I
ever
would
saw.
be worried. I would be concerned. Yeah, I would. They asked me if I was okay, and I was like, I'm fantastic. How are you?
I felt amazing, but it was
I
like
think they thought that
I can't
was
lose any more
stressed
weight.
out or doing drugs I shouldn't be doing, and I'm like, I feel great. I'm working my way back there. My brain has to take over and realize that I've traumatized my body to this point before I can kick my own ass.
Yeah.
It's really close.
But it's so fun to me anyway to try these new things and say, okay, because like use your own body as your
challenging
laboratory.
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what you're
and
doing.
it's like
you're,
the insights that
It's
you
a
get,
game.
the things you
Yeah.
learn about yourself are just like head
the end
exploding.
goal is information.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
Well,
that's like-
and
Mass
understanding.
information
Know
for
yourself.
yourself.
this journey that I'm going on with my health is like, I really thought I knew myself until I started getting like, having a lot of issues, like the symptoms come up. And now I'm like, really journaling and like paying attention and taking this out and putting this in. And it's like really exciting and interesting because like, like as I'm taking one thing out and this other thing is getting better, I'm even saying, oh, but it's not that thing that's bad. It's that this was masking that symptom, which was creating, it's like,
Sorry to interrupt. They've got to head out, so I don't know if we want to bounce over to them for a second.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
My back's spasming, so I'm not gonna.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, sorry, we do have to go, but I would highly recommend anything these folks are going to put on. It was educational, it was fun, it's so invigorating. I mean, everybody keeps saying it, so I'll just add to it. So invigorating to just be with like-minded people. Because this is the way we have to be. Our current society is unsustainable, it's unhealthy, and if we don't find a new way to be with this planet and with each other, well, we're not going to be here. So I just want to thank Mike and Allie and everybody here for this amazing opportunity. We learned so much and had so much fun. Did a little forest bathing, so that's always healing. So I want to thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much for your contribution to this weekend.
Yes.
It's been incredibly valuable.
So great learning from you guys.
It's been delightful to meet you both.
Well, that's like what I love about the idea of Skillshare is like no one here is the expert teaching the other people. It's that we're all giving information and sharing knowledge and together. We're sharing. Sure. I think that's the beauty of community. Like we've talked, this conversation has come up so many times this weekend that it's like we're all experts in our own little things, but we can all still learn from each other in every way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I need to get hugs.
Well put.
Okay, so here is where some of the members of Root to Rise had to leave, and we needed to say our goodbyes.
And we learned that if we're recording, we just shouldn't stop it. We should come back and cut out the bits we don't need later, because every time we hit stop and with the intention of hitting record again, it's always too late. Like the conversation starts back up before we hit record. So
we came back in to Circle and started the conversation again. And unfortunately, you missed the very beginning of the conversation here, but we saved you the juicy parts.
Yeah, so here we are, back at it.
And we're talking, just to clue you in, we're talking about community and the importance of community in our lives and the value of living in a village. Enjoy.
Reciprocal energy.
Sure.
Because I do feel like, yes, I've put a lot of care and a lot of effort and a lot of love and a lot of, repair. And I also feel like that's, I'm getting back.
It's repaired you too.
It is. It also created a safe space for me to land when my life fell apart. Like when my marriage fell apart, when my family fell apart, like I landed here and I had nothing and I was spent and I was burnt out and I was emotionally distraught and just, I was at my lowest point and I still had this land and I had Mike and Allie, and it was like that's what brought me out of something I probably would have looked and didn't think that there was an end to, didn't think that there was another side to, and but now I'm on the other side of it and I'm like, wow, I didn't think I was going to survive that. I didn't think that there was going to be better than that. I thought that was the best it was ever going to, and now I'm on a side where I'm like, I'm actually happy and I have support and I live in a beautiful place that sustains me and gives me joy and makes me feel like even if I don't I make just enough to survive and it's enough, but even if everything fell apart and everything that I'd still have this, there's still
Mommy
this.
loves these peanuts.
And that's a level of security, or when people are like, are you self-sustainable? And it's like, no, I'm not, and I don't think self-sustainability is a real goal.
I don't think it's a real
I don't
thing.
think
It's not a real thing.
I love that video that you sent us the other day that was talking about that, about like how self-sustainability is a joke. It was this family that went and they like bought land and started homesteading, and they're like, oh, we're gonna do everything ourselves, we're gonna like make our own food from scratch, we're gonna grow it, we're gonna have our own animals and butcher them and all this,
Get burned out
and
real quick.
yeah, and homestead and like homeschool our children and blah blah blah, and they were like, oh, we find ourselves in the exact same situation as when we were on the hamster wheel.
Right.
We're working 24/7. We are, like, it's not sustainable mentally or physically. And so, like, the end of the video kind of wrapped up with, like, you need community. We need each other.
It was observed hundreds of years ago. No man is an island complete unto himself. Like,
Right.
It's not. It shouldn't come to us as a news flash, and yet it does.
Yeah.
Every
Well, and we
generation.
have all of these like sayings, it takes a village, and it's like we know this inherently, we feel it,
Right.
But
But we each seem to have to learn it for ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we forgot. It's been taught out of us,
Yeah.
like that's how we should live.
Yeah, it's
so
like-
that everybody will buy their own shit.
Right. It's
Everybody
like
has their
saying
own lawnmower.
yesterday about, like,
Yeah.
codependence is so bad. Like, I remember when that was all you heard, that you couldn't go out for an evening without hearing the word codependence, and used as a pejorative, like, I'm in such a codependent relationship, or they're so codependent. Like, yeah, obviously we're a social species.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
I'm happily codependent.
Yeah,
It's
right,
like we're
exactly.
all codependent,
there was
obviously.
a 12 Steps Anonymous group that was Codependence Anonymous. And my mom, when I was growing up, pretty much latched on to any self-help fix. It became religion eventually, but before that it was 12-step programs. And so every Christmas we'd go to Alcoholics Anonymous, and every Thanksgiving we'd go to OA.
That
And
must have been festive.
it was a fun tradition. So I spent a lot of time as a child sitting in, 12-step meetings, listening to life destruction stories and, and all of that. But she would pick up any meeting that she could, because she was like, this, she would hear a problem and say, obviously I've got that problem, because if I can identify with this, then I can be fixed,
It works if you work it.
Yeah. And so it was like, my mom was never an alcoholic. She was never, she just needed somebody to give her the answers and the solution and the fix it to her problems and her pain.
We're
And
all
so,
searching for that. And it's
know.
we just finished this book called The Book of Help. It was amazing as a memoir about this woman who was raised, what was it?
Christian Science.
Christian Science. And so she was raised going to all these workshops and self-development, all this stuff. And so the whole book, it's really cool. Every chapter is a thing that she tried. So she's just hopping
50 chapters.
from and
Wow.
she didn't even cover all of them. And so it's the whole thing is just hopping from thing to thing to thing, because that's what our society tells us. That it's oh, you just need this thing to fix you. You just need this new car, and then you'll be happy.
You just take that if you.
Yeah, and
So
it's not. That's
The crisis
not it.
of more next.
Yeah.
New.
Each
now.
one of us
Yeah.
needs to pull back the curtain and see the man behind the curtain
Yeah.
and say, oh, this is my, why I need the latest, the greatest, the best, why these people are my enemies, and why that,
Mm-hmm.
It's we're each being sold the same bill of goods.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, it's each of us in our own little cell, completely isolated, completely dependent, on, the power structure, instead of
Plugged into the
on
grid.
each other.
Plugged into the grid.
Yeah.
Right, and
Yeah.
but we're also told that turning the other way towards each other and connecting and integrating and being dependent on one another
Is
is
bad.
bad.
Right.
Is
Right.
a failure. Oh, if you have to move back in with your parents, you failed. And it's that's called multi-generational living. That's
Yeah.
called multi-generational support.
That's called most
That
of
is-
human history.
That's called most of human history.
Yeah.
And yet we are shamed to not, to need one another. And then I think about Codependence Anonymous. I'm just there's a whole group of people going, I can't help. I need to fix my need to connect with other people in this way where, I need them to be okay and they need me to be okay. And, and it's I get that there's a toxic level to any of this, right? There's a toxic level to anything.
Yeah.
I mean, water
But-
can kill you.
But, yes, exactly. But
astonishingly
how
quickly.
far we're pushing to go away from, and to find something that, away from our human nature.
I mean, you watch the show Alone.
Right.
And these people can do everything for themselves, and they're out there for months by themselves surviving. They're getting their own food. They're taking care of all the things that they need to, and they end up leaving because they're alone.
Yeah, the one
The
insurmountable
loneliness,
is the loneliness.
They can't, they can do all the things for
But you
themselves.
see them starving to death and being like, I don't want to fail. I can't bring myself to call it quits, because then I will have failed this, and it's like,
I will have failed isolating myself in this horrible condition.
Right.
For what?
And ultimately, it's like I will have failed to get the big, the big cash prize that's going to change my life and elevate me out of this self-inflicted hardship of trying to struggle and do everything for myself. It's like, talk about mother of ironies. My God.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by it right now, the mother of ironies. Everything's ironic about the way that this system works. It seems like a basal level.
Skippy.
It seems like a basal level to me. I don't
Yeah,
I don't understand what's not to understand.
I feel like that I read somewhere.
I don't know how to put it more simply than that. I don't know.
I read somewhere that some of the decline in community came when they started moving people to expand their backyards, because everybody used to have the front porch. They would sit on the front porch. Everybody knew everybody else's kid. They knew everybody else's business, what was going on. And when they started working on backyards and having all of that stuff going out back there.
And this obsession with privacy. And
but
everybody needs their own space.
Yeah.
Always.
Then people
but they're making building codes about how big a minimum size plot has to be.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing random about that.
Right.
It's specifically to get you away from your neighbors and isolate you more and more.
It's like, how much separation can I have from the people next to me while being incredibly close to them and yet separate?
There's so many places I lived in the city where maybe I knew 2 of my neighbors, despite being able to see at least a dozen houses just by walking outside of my house in any direction.
For sure. Yeah. I say this story all the time, but I think of it all the time. There's this correlation with postpartum depression and the invention of washing machines. There's a huge correlation of when we invented washing machines, the women were no longer getting together,
gathering to wash
their clothes together in the
feel
river.
The connectedness, even if there was
huge
no talk.
spike. Yep.
Yeah, I never heard that before, but man, it makes so much sense.
Right?
But it was a moment of, we prioritized and we were pushed into the priority of efficiency over community.
Yeah.
We can do this faster and easier and not have to get together and not have to spend the time to go through this process.
Irony again.
But we sacrificed the intangible benefits
efficiency
of that job,
Yeah.
which was it's not just a job that I have to do and get done efficiently and quickly so I can move on to the next task I have to accomplish. It's, I'm going to spend time doing a thing that needs to be done, but with other people, with other women, with other,
ourselves from that
sharing our
efficiency
lives
right
and
there.
our emotions and our feelings
by
and how we're
making
doing
ourselves more efficient by ourselves.
Yeah.
So ironic.
Yeah, there was
Let me
an
just
engineer.
go run off by myself, do all of the shit
Yeah.
by myself.
Yeah.
I got
I'll
this.
do all of
no
the
problem.
labor.
I got
It's
it.
here, buy this
No
thing.
biggie,
It'll
small-
make it easier and faster. Do this. Do that. Do that.
Buy
and
all
then
of
by
these
the end,
things
it's like,
so you can
now
be
you have
alone
room
and
to
do
fit
this by
more
yourself.
Shit in.
And since I'm by myself, I might as well just have the screen on in front of me at all times, where they're just telling me what to think
How to
and
do
what
it.
to buy.
How to do it.
And it's community.
Right.
When I moved to Bloomingdale, I moved there
Synthetic
in
community.
2012, and I did what I thought you were supposed to do. I'm from a farm family. I mean, really mixed, weird background. And I moved there and I baked stuff. And I walked it down the road. You know what Bloomingdale's like. I'm right on the main strip.
Yeah.
I walked down homemade bread and cookies. I did not get a single response from anyone that was
I'm not
encouraging.
surprised. Yeah.
It was so bizarre. I got the weirdest feeling, and I knew when I got to like the 4th or the 5th house, and they're spaced a bit of ways. I knew the second I turned that they dropped that in the wastebasket. I could almost hear it in my brain.
Yeah.
And years later, I talked to the people that lived by me, and I asked them if they tried the bread, and they said we'd never seen bread like that. We didn't know what it was or how to eat it.
How am I supposed to make a sandwich with a circle?
With a loaf of
Maybe
bread.
I should have sliced it.
I have to cut my own bread? What am I, a savage?
I mean, I'm not trying to be an asshole about it, but it didn't like crush, it didn't defeat me. I don't feel the weight of the world maybe like others do, because at the base of it, I do know that your feet are still on the ground.
Yeah.
There will be a coming home to each other and to this planet. For
One
all of
hopes.
us in a different
One certainly
different
hopes.
way. Oh no, you can. I really. It just there will be it. There is.
Yeah.
We're all doing it microcosmically right now. Some of these folks just can't do it in a connectedness right now.
Yeah.
They're struggling with the machine.
Yeah.
And in order for them to even break that cyclical, that's generations deep built in now,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
It is cellular.
Yeah.
And in order for them to even break that, they're just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Keep swimming.
Well, I have a
But
lot of
they
empathy
feel it.
for those who have gotten caught,
Yeah.
who've gotten trapped into it and don't see a way out. Like, I have a hard time being angry with people who have chosen the toxicity, who've chosen the bullshit,
It's
because
not their fault.
it's
It's the system.
it is
not.
a very well designed trap.
Yeah.
It's a very
Yeah.
exactly, and it's like it's hard to shirk that, to fight that off, to like
It's uncomfortable.
you know, it's very uncomfortable.
It skeeves people.
And
They don't
most people
understand
are still
it.
in survival mode, and they can't even get outside of that. It's designed that way.
And they're like, I'm going for the American dream.
Yeah, fight or flight.
Yeah.
And it's like it's very easy to just get upset with individuals.
Yeah.
You know, they want us to get upset with individuals. You're the problem because you're not making these choices. You're making these
That's
choices
to
over these choices.
distract and deter,
But
too.
it's the entire system is
Yeah.
literally designed to, you know,
Yeah.
circumvent free will and be like, these are your choices, and you think you're making, you know,
Yeah.
but they're all the same, really. Here's 4 choices. This is what you have. You feel like you have some autonomy in this, but really they're all the same, and they're all doing
Quote,
the same thing.
free will.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
They're
I
still
think
To
feeding the
choose
system.
one of these 4 things.
Right. When really
Cool.
it's like
I'll
it's
take
very
what's behind
hard to
you.
And
go,
all
no,
4 are the
no,
same thing.
Screw
Yeah.
all of this. I want
All 4
that
doors
over
go
here,
to the same
you know.
place.
Right, exactly.
Well, exactly. This is why.
And
Right
then you're
into the
free to
hole.
choose.
different labels, same, you know,
Right
same
into the
company.
wheel.
I think
the
this
car.
is why, like, the focus, like everything that I do, I'm like, think of the kids, because, like, they aren't in that system yet. They're not in that hamster wheel yet. Like, they are
But people are trying to
impressionable.
pull 'em in.
They're
It's
trying to be
crazy.
pulled in, but it's like, it's like, you know, what we were talking about before, like, when you rip away the hamster wheel and then nothing else is given. We have to give the kids another option, and, like, that is, like, literally the future. So you're welcome for us having 100 kids that are gonna have 100 kids, because, like, that to me, like, is the hope of the future, is, like,
Oh.
there's some people that are so far into the system
Add
that they
some fiber
can't
there.
She's so happy.
And minerals.
She's like,
Oh, peanuts.
they can't, like, there's, yeah,
they don't even know a different.
right.
But you know, for a long time, I didn't want kids because I didn't want to put them into this system and on
Yeah,
this
same
planet.
thing. Like the
And
decision to have
then-
a kid was the hardest decision I ever made.
But at some point in time, I didn't even change my mind. My entire
Yeah.
perspective flipped upside down,
Yeah,
and I was
same.
like, "Fuck this! If this is what I'm looking at, I'm growing something."
yeah,
And I've always
Exactly.
felt a deeper purpose, like a sense of I am supposed to be doing something bigger, and I channel that right now into, if I can't figure out what that is, because I haven't quite yet. I don't know. Maybe I have and I don't know it. I constantly plucking away.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can't, then I'm just going to raise that.
Yeah. Right. And that's
that
huge.
is coming for you people.
It's huge. And it's like,
Fucking coming for you.
They talk about, like, if you can convince one person of something, then you've convinced thousands of people, because that one person will share it with two people, and those two people will share it with three people, and those three people, and it goes, and that's the same with our kids. Like, this is not one person here, this child. This is, like, her friends, her children, her grandchildren, her great-children.
Animals, her life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her plants. It's everything. It's all of it. It's not even just people.
And it's not just our kids. Like, this is, again, the power of community, is, like, being around other people's kids and being around as many kids as we can and giving them all this other option. Like, even if you decide, I don't want to have any kids. Like, one of my best friends, she doesn't have any children, but she knows more about parenting than, like, most parents that I know, because she is so determined to give kids another option.
The kids.
Yeah, like, she listens to parenting podcasts every day. She's read more parenting books than, like, again, most parents have, because, like, her passion is like, oh my God, I love it. She's like the girls' aunties.
We love you, Cage.
Yeah. But it's like, it's so important to pass this knowledge along to kids.
Okay, so that thing you said yesterday that you told your stepdaughter, if you wouldn't mind repeating that, and then also repeating it maybe a third time with a group of boys and standing in front of you.
I'm a little hesitant to do that, only because we've already decided to actually make a curriculum.
Okay.
And put that out into the world.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And so I kind of don't want to spill the tea on that.
Totally.
All right, yeah, I completely understand.
Yeah.
But thank you for saying that and for the validation. But
well, here's a shout out to the curriculum, then.
Yeah. Oh, if you wouldn't mind repeating that in front of a group of boys, because sometimes they hear things better from not their parents.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they won't try, and they're not going to try and sell it.
That
basically,
is a huge
it was the thing in a nutshell is I was at the beginning of what I recognized was about to be an awkward interaction with my, quote unquote stepdaughter. And I realized she was coming from a place of being defeated before she ever even asked the question, and she had resentment for me for something I hadn't done yet.
Yeah.
And I decided to have an intervention right then and there. And I taught her about negotiation and how that would change the rest of her life. And it right from that moment forward, it changed our relationship. And it has opened so many doors for her. Like, she and I have never had an argument, raised voice. Like, how many years ago was that? Like 3-4 years? I mean, never had an unpleasant interaction from that day to this. And if I tell her, like, you need to do this, or this needs to happen, or whatever, she's like, got it, no problem, And because she knows I'm not like Simon Legree or this evil person who just makes her do stuff for random reasons because I can.
Yeah.
It's like her as a person,
right?
And she got to see that you saw her as a person who wants to help her do what she wants to do.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like she realized I had just handed her the guidebook,
Keys to the Castle,
for the rest of her life. It's like, okay, this is valuable. This is valuable. I can use this right this minute, tomorrow, next week,
and
next year.
And she did.
And man, yeah, it changed her.
Share that with the rest of the world?
What's that?
We do want to.
Well, he will. He will.
I think it'll be huge, and so that's something that we have decided we're going to try and squeeze in before we get heavily into developing Wintergreen Springs. And it's just
Do you have wintergreen there? I missed that part.
Everywhere.
Really? I want some.
Yeah, we've got wintergreen. Like,
Can I trade you?
We named it Wintergreen Springs for its abundance of both.
I assumed.
Yeah. Lots of wintergreens and lots of springs.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I
But
love wintergreen.
yeah, if you like wintergreen, we got just a place.
So magical.
And the thing that surprises me is we'll go out there in the spring, and normally you can't find a wintergreen berry left in the spring because all the like
Animals.
partridge and all the other things have
wildlife.
gobbled them all up.
Yeah.
But there's so much of it out there
that we still find
It's
them.
like the shelves are still full come spring.
Yeah.
I showed you that trail cam picture, or maybe I didn't.
No.
But we had a trail cam picture of an overweight coyote,
Oh my god.
which
A fat coyote.
there's something I didn't think I would ever live long enough to see. Like
He found a McDonald's dumpster.
To be, like on the edge of survival all
yeah.
the time.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You look a little too fat and happy.
oh my God! I mean, this thing's on the edge of needing a mobility scooter.
Oh man, he's been getting the wrong person's dumpster.
You know, there isn't a dumpster within 5 miles of where we live out there, man. I mean, they're like, it is wilderness, and
That's everywhere, every direction.
you know, but there's just so much food out there, and we really want to make it like an event destination, and you know, an alternative community, and the whole works.
Food forest.
But yeah,
Work
we'd like
camp.
to do a huge,
Yeah.
a huge food forest demonstration out there, and we'd like to do a thing for kids, like
Floating
finding
school.
their way in life and figuring out, you know, because we've taken away all the milestones that used to be there, how a girl becomes a woman, how a boy
Yeah,
becomes
the
a
rites
man.
of passage. Yeah.
You know, is like, and if we can take all those things, then suddenly, you know, we have a world full of children, of grown children,
Yep.
that are looking to the government, you
Yep.
know, for leadership, for parenting, for whatever. And
Not
it's
only
like,
did we take them, we shame them for them now.
yeah, yeah.
Like, not only did we strip them of those things, now we shame them.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well, and they've lost. There's an importance in
Shouldn't say
ritual
we,
and
but-
being able to lean on ritual
Yeah.
to help make sense
Yes.
of the
to
passage
organize
of time
some
and,
of
and,
your,
and
to
experiences
organize
in your
some of
life.
your
And
self.
finding your path.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
To
And-
just calm your muscles, even if it's just a cellular level.
well,
Just to,
and an understanding of that life is this like constant cycle,
secular,
rather than I got to figure this one thing out and then I got to stick with it forever. And instead, it's like, no, we like the life is growth. It is growth and change, and we have to celebrate that growth and change, and let go of the old, and you know, grasp onto the new. And it's like we have to facilitate those processes, and without tradition, without ritual, without celebration,
We have no
we don't have any way to
guideposts,
do
no
that,
milestones.
and so we're just stumbling through trying to figure out and being shamed for the change that we, you know, go through the mistakes that we make that are valuable and vital, and you know,
the scientific method, you cannot get to success if you don't fail. And now we tell
Yep.
them nobody fails. You can't fail. Are you
Oh my
serious? It's the basis for what I like. If I
Here's
were
your
to teach
participation
anything,
trophy.
and that's okay. You know, I don't think we should shame people for quote losing or
Yeah.
for. But
and I think we
if
should
you-
celebrate trying, whether you're
yes,
good at it or not.
Yes,
Like,
but
you
it's
know.
okay to fail.
Yes.
If
It
you,
is.
Yes.
How many times did you fail making maybe you didn't fail, but the biochar wasn't as productive as you would have
Yeah,
liked
I've definitely
it to
made
be.
systems that weren't as good. Like my
right.
second one wasn't like looked
Wasn't
better.
as good
It
as
looked
the
nicer.
first
It wasn't
one.
put together with scrap. It didn't work as well as the scrap one did.
Right.
Well, that was the cool thing about, you showed us all the iterations of the designs, you know, and you had the whole history of that evolution, which I thought was just as cool as could be, because you could see like the learning, you could see the understanding and all the different you know, aspects that you had to account for and bring in, you know, for this thing to evolve and for it to be, you know, where you've taken it. And it's like every one of those could have been a point, you know, a point of failure. You know, I'm using air quotes with that, but you know, failure comes down to one thing: it's just quitting.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like there's a famous story about Edison and inventing the light bulb, which he didn't, by the way. A guy in England did, but he
Right,
mass-produced it. He
Yeah.
came up with a commercially viable light
He
bulb.
got credit for it.
His
And-
response was, you know, I didn't find one way to make a light bulb. I found 1,000 ways not to.
That didn't work.
That
Yeah,
didn't- exactly.
1,000 ways not to make a light bulb before
Exactly.
I found the filament that would
Right.
hold up.
But those 1,000 ways not to do something
We're indispensable.
were
Led- yeah.
exactly, and that those mistakes were even more valuable. Just
And
that
if
there
if
was no-
if you raise people to quit, you know, after the first attempt, you're raising people who are utterly helpless.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
You
and
know.
like
Which is what they want.
Sean,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sean so badly wants to
Exactly.
build stuff, and sometimes like it doesn't immediately. It's not perfect on his first try, and he's like, "Oh, I just give up."
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to
It's
pull him into
impossible.
the. Yeah,
That's
it's
the word he uses.
impossible.
It's impossible. And I'm like,
And I'm like,
nothing is impossible.
I learned to do this stuff because like I didn't have any other option. Like I wanted to do the thing. Nobody's going to do it for me, and I wanted it bad enough to just keep doing it until I did it.
Right.
So like I'm trying to pull him into the project. So like we had one a few weeks ago. One of the truck brakes needed replaced, and so I'm like, hey, you want to like learn how to change brakes? And he got to learn how to change brake pads, but he also got to learn how to unstick a screw. That was like past the point of like, okay, I'm like, if this is going to get unscrewed right now, or this truck is undrivable because.
Right.
So like,
Isn't that crazy when a whole huge job comes down to one little fastener? that the
yeah.
rest
So
is
he got to see us like get like progressively longer and longer, a ratchet and then a breaker bar, and then I took a floor jack to the breaker bar till the breaker bar was bending, and it still wasn't. And we kept trying all
Holy
those things,
moly.
and finally ended with like fire.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might want to hit it with a torch a couple times.
Yeah, we did that, and it popped, and he
Yep.
got to like I was like so glad he was there for that, so he can see like, hey, I didn't know what like sometimes I'm like took me I could sit for a minute and like what the hell am I gonna do next, and like
Right. It didn't work out because you knew exactly what to do.
yeah
It worked out because you kept trying.
because I didn't
And
have
you
any other
adapted
option.
as you learned, and you made enough mistakes.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Not have a truck anymore?
Yeah, pay like I'd probably cost
Right.
a lot of money. Have a tow truck come here and get it and like drag it off somewhere. It's gonna charge me a
Oh,
shit
so
ton of money.
I guess you better join the system and get your 9-to-5 job so that you can get your truck towed to the mechanic to fix it.
Right. So they can do the same thing you're doing. They
Yep.
can go through that same process because everybody that's ever turned a wrench has had that moment where it's like this is a so many dollar, so many thousands of pound paperweight because I can't undo this one fastener.
Yeah, the first
know?
time he taught me how to change my oil when we first met, and it was the same thing on my Prius. Like underneath, there was a screw that was like it was just stuck, and it was just like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? And it's the same thing. It's just like almost every project there's that thing that like. It's not the hardest thing. It's like the simplest little thing, like this little thing that's holding it all together. Or we can't find that one tool that we need, so we have to use 100 other tools.
That's really deeply personal for me because like I've always tried to do my own work on whatever I can do my own work on, and so like I've fixed every vehicle, a motorcycle, whatever that I've always had done almost exclusively my own work. And you'll be out there in the middle of the night after you work for a couple of days on this thing, and you're like, man, I'm out of ideas, I'm out of bullets in this fight. Like and then for me, I would think back, and it's like, is this really going to be the first time where I was unable to do it? Like every time I've ever run into one of these obstacles, I've found a way around it.
Yeah.
I've managed to figure it out,
Yeah.
and boom. And this is not going to be the exception. It's like whatever it takes, I'll fix this. But then, and that was a light bulb moment. That was like a huge thing. But eventually, I kind of took pity on a woman I knew, and her car was all messed up, and it's a fairly new car, and I realized like. Nobody ever told her, oh, when you see a huge hole in the road, drive around it.
Oh yeah.
Like, don't, like she literally, I was riding in the car with her and I'm like,
Oh, as you're saying that,
and
my
I'm
brain's
like,
going through all the things that would break.
I'm like, has anybody ever suggested maybe straddle the hole or swerve and avoid the hole? And she's like, why? And I'm thinking, so you don't break an axle, so you don't like bend a control arm, so you don't,
Bend your rim.
And
Cars are not
so
invincible.
I'm fixing her car. I get underneath it, and like I knew one of the struts was just utterly banjaxed. It's done. And so I thought, I can throw some new struts on it for it. It's not a big deal. And the shop wants to charge her a fortune. So I jacked the thing up and get under it, and I told her about how much the job would cost, and I told her I'd do the labor for free, and I'd loan her some money for the parts until she was, I'm trying to help her out because she's up against it. She's barely making it, right? And I get under that, and I'm like, holy shit, You know, there's a level, and this is a new looking car that seems fine, it's like a Hyundai, and I'm thinking it's not just the struts. Like, there's a bolt that holds one of the control arms that's broken, and it's inconceivable that you could break this bolt. I mean, it's it's that thick. But I'm looking at this thing, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to take the hood off. I'm gonna have to get an engine hoist, and I'm gonna have to pull the engine out of this car so I can get at this thing from above, because the bottom is not an option.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like thinking, it's probably, because I still have to live my life and see to all my other commitments and stuff. It'll probably take me 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
To do a job I thought I could do in 2 or 3 hours. And it hits me. It's like I'm already like planning, okay, I can rent the hoist, I can do this, I can do that. And I'm already like visualizing all the steps and the job done. And then I'm thinking, why are you doing this? It's like, this is just a huge, you're talking about weeks of your life.
Yeah.
That you're just saying, oh, hey, like, you're in a rough spot, let me help you. And it's like, this is a valuable life lesson for her. She needs to learn, like, if you wreck your stuff, then your stuff is wrecked.
Yeah.
And you can't just count on some knight in shining armor riding in and just like, oh, let me just fix everything in your life for you. It's like, that's her problem in the first place.
Yeah.
Is that she has a knack for finding these people and, letting them save her. And I'm like, I'm over functioning to a ridiculous degree when I'm like putting weeks of my life on ignore to help somebody along in this aspect of their journey that maybe they don't need that kind of help right now.
Maybe what they need is the lesson that comes from, hey, some things are not fixable.
Yeah.
You need to not make that. Need to not break it next time.
Yeah. Like and that was it. Like, I showed her, okay, this is the thing I've run into. I've never seen this happen before, and the amount of abuse it takes to break this is almost beyond my comprehension.
Right.
And the amount of effort that it's going to take to get at this thing that was not immediately visible. Like, I could do the thing I said I was going to do, but that will not solve all your problems.
Well, and at some point you have to be like, these are my choices. I can put all of this work in to replace this thing, but at some point it's not worth my time. It's not worth
I'm as far as my own time, I'm putting in more of my time than the car is worth.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, this is a serious impact on my life.
Yeah.
And I'm reflexively just, okay, no problem. But I was like, maybe there's a lesson for me to learn about boundaries.
If I could segue here to bring it back around to community, it just reminded me, because you guys had mentioned this before, and you also brought it up, but one of the things we were talking about in starting an intentional community is having a big garage with a tool share.
Yeah.
Where
like a tool library.
Not only where we could lend tools, but also have workshops or where we teach somebody how to use a specific tool, then they can take it.
Right.
And so
after this, you're signed off on that tool. It's yours to use whenever it's there available.
One thing I'm trying to figure out is we've got, I don't know, you probably saw the 2 shipping containers back there. One's a hardware store, one's a lumberyard.
Nice.
And then we've got the full workshop here. But I have struggled, I always had this, I want to share my tools with people, and I started sharing my tools with people, and
they have a habit of not coming back or not coming back functional.
Well, it's like that woman you're talking about, it's like when people use it and they break it, they don't have the care.
Right.
That you would have.
Yeah.
That's where the whole, before you, bye-bye, it was so nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Where you're going to learn how to use it before you get to take it,
So for your own safety and for the good of the, the community.
Do, shop classes too, but then with that comes this liability. So we're trying to figure out how to navigate this where we can share this information and these resources with people, but not be financially responsible for people doing this or making mistakes.
I always, anytime I come up with an idea, the first thing I wonder is who had this idea already?
Yeah.
Has this been done? And if so, how did it come out?
And the maker spaces.
In what's that?
Like the maker spaces that exist.
Yeah. But in Berkeley, California, they I think might have invented the tool library.
Okay.
And you know, it was an idea I had, and then in checking, it's like, oh, turns out it's been done, and it's a really cool thing. But they undoubtedly will have dealt with the liability aspects and stuff. So that work undoubtedly has been done as well. So it's probably out there waiting on a shelf with a bow on it for you. You know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and then our other next thing is that, we have to look into this. Obviously, we shouldn't kill this idea just from hesitation on it. But then, like, my next thought is like, oh, there's probably like a insurance you have to get that.
Oh, for sure.
We have talked about that.
Yeah.
We've had a sit down with
it's not expensive though.
a couple of lawyers.
Okay.
And
I don't feel like it for the.
Well, you know,
Depends on what you're aiming
you can get a certain amount of liability just off your homeowners.
Correct.
Like our homeowners in
And off
Grand
your
Haven
business.
gives us up to like $1 million
Yes.
of liability out for a property.
Yes.
And we, you know,
Okay.
doubled that just to give us
Just in case, a buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your business will also offer you insurance. It sounds like both of us are pretty versed with like legalities. If you
Not me. I was raised by a lawyer, and that was enough for me to run away.
run away, yeah. I don't know. I spent a lot of time in the back of the courthouse studying it because we needed. My first husband needed to get his daughter.
I can
out of
understand
where she was.
legalese when I find it, but it's not. It's currently a time.
It's not your thing. It's a
Time
time
problem.
thing. You don't. Yeah.
I spent about 10 years working freelance for high-end law firms on the West Coast.
Okay.
And, you know, I basically put out fires for them, and I never really knew, like, what tomorrow was going to bring. And for about 6 years, it was a blast. And then for about the next 3, all I wanted was out, and I just, like,
Got
I
heavy.
grew to detest lawyers
Got really
and
heavy.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
can't.
it's only been recently that I've started to have a new appreciation for lawyers, like since I've been out of that community, and I've met a few lawyers that are actually out doing good things.
Yeah, there's good
you know.
ones out there, like with anything.
Yeah, like there's some lawyers that they spend all their time basically fighting the government. and,
Environmental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Government.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Eventually, they get demonized because
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
won too
I
many
don't-
cases against
I
corporations.
don't know everyone's feelings on RFK, but you know he did a lot of really good stuff as a lawyer and cleaning up a lot.
Environmentally, he did great stuff,
Amazing.
and during COVID, he did great stuff. He
Yeah.
concerns me, like when he talks about Israel and Palestine. It's just like,
Yeah.
who are you, and what did you do
Yeah.
with the other guy? You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
man.
I'm like, what did they like? Did you walk into the, this government system and they just shot you with some sort of like?
I feel like
can't,
somebody's got something on him, and if you look
Yeah,
at his family,
totally.
I'm pretty sure a big part of what got JFK done in was when he found out that they were building nuclear weapons
Yeah.
at Dimona. And he's like, this is not going to wash. Like, you
Yeah.
guys need to join the community, the rest of the world. You need to have regular inspections. Like, we let other countries inspect our nuclear arsenals and all the rest of it. You guys have to do the same thing. And they're like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Right.
And suddenly he's not alive anymore, And the new guy, no problem, carte blanche. You need to steal our nuclear secrets. Let me, see if I can get you a copy of the key. It was just ridiculous.
Hand
All right, well-
gestures, secret signals.
It's
Squirrel!
sounding like it's time. We should probably wind this up and.
Yeah, I love these conversations, and I could just sit here and talk for
Me too. I love how you said wind this up. That's contrary to what most people
That's
would
true.
say.
That's true. No, because
I
we're gonna keep it
prefer
going. We're gonna wrap this up, and I guess that's what I combined. Wind this down with
Wind
wrap
this
it
down
up.
and wrap it up.
Yeah.
But we're gonna continue this on after
Or is
we
it
turn
wind
this off
up and
anyway.
wrap it
So
down?
Yep.
This has been amazing, and we're just so appreciative and, feeling deeply grateful for this weekend.
sure.
yeah, we are so grateful
doing
for the
it.
people that came. And
We're
it
doing it.
was a great crowd, like everybody.
If you
everybody
build
here.
it, they will come, and that's the same.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank
Yep,
you.
and, speaking of manifestation, I was working on manifesting this for years before him, and he and Liberty were working on manifesting it, and like it's like we all just like came together and put all of our manifestation powers together.
And you
and
developed this charge, and
and they pulled me up here. And speaking of synchronicities, it was kind of funny. I was going to my ex-husband's sister's wedding up in North Michigan. This was when I was, I had started community down in Bangor, and we were having issues with like the landlord situation down there, and we're kind of like iffy on if we were going to be able to stay there anymore. And we're driving, and as we enter like what I now know is Oceana County, which is where we were in New Era, I got this like oh. I was like looking around on the interstate and saw the hills, and I was just like,
"This is where I am."
I turned to my ex-husband, and I was like, my husband at the time, and I was like, "This is where we're supposed to be," and he was like, "Okay, whatever." And he didn't feel it like I did, which is a, kind of
sign of the times.
A sign of the times, yeah. But it's like I just like felt it. There's like this like magnetic like, and little did I know they were up here trying to pull me up, So it's and then like right when I came back, I was talking with my friend Serena, and she was like, I was like, we might need to like look for other property. I don't know like what we're gonna do. And she was like, have you ever looked at Oceana County? I started looking into it, and I was like, oh wow, that's so funny. And then I started talking with him, not knowing that's where he lived. So it's like, with the synchronicities and the signs, like all this stuff, it's you start looking at it, and it's all just bringing us here together. And
it was like, so we had been dating for a little, like, it was after we started dating, and you were like coming up for part of the week, and there was one time we were talking on the phone, and it was like foggy, and you passed the exit, and you went further north, and that was when you were like, these are the hills.
Yep,
these are the hills I passed, because we hadn't driven up that way yet.
I didn't put it together yet until I drove a little bit, and I was like, oh my god, this is it. This is where I was like, this is where we're going to live. It was nuts. So, like, it's all led us here.
And your ex didn't get it because he
wasn't coming.
It wasn't part of his.
He was staying down in Bloomingdale with you, Marcy.
I really believe that there's something to that temporal aspect. It's like if something is going to be in your life, whether it's the past, the future, we don't think twice about like, okay, that happened to me and I remember it. But I think we have it in us to see the future the same as we see the past.
Totally.
But conditioned it out of us.
It's I don't even know if it's that, honestly, because I know people who have traumatic amnesia, right? They've been through things that they just can't remember. And it's because their brain is protecting them from that.
Yeah.
Now think about the loss of everybody in your life. These people are going to die, these people are going to drift away, these people are going to have horrific things happen to them.
I have a friend that's heavy with that.
Wouldn't your memory
Heavy with that.
like your ability to be aware of that, like, wouldn't it, like, I don't want to know.
Traumatizes her every day.
Yeah, well, I mean,
every day, but she's knowledgeable of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you live with that? And
yeah, for me, for example, I there was a day in my life where 40% of the surface of my body got burned off in a day.
Yeah.
And, like, that was a hard day to get through, but, man, can you imagine living your whole life?
Every person around.
Imagine knowing that was out there waiting for you. It's like knowing somebody's in an alley waiting to kick your ass, you know? It's like, I'd rather just pretend that's not out there and just live my life, you know? And I think that's how we are. But I think the more you get, so it's like, okay, that's out there, but I can deal with it. I can take it. I can process that. It's then I think your brain, your spirit, call it what you will, that allows, a little more of it to filter through, and so, like, for me, all the time it happens where I'll have this weird recognition, or this, like, okay, this moment is drawing my attention in a particular way. This is going to come up again.
You just have to pay attention to
Right.
it.
And it's like, after you go through that cycle enough times, you start to recognize it, and you're like, okay, this is one of those moments. It's connected to these 5 things in the past, but there's clearly more of them ahead, and also now.
That's what fascinates me about them, is they haven't built the filters. Society, the world, the system hasn't instilled in them the filters yet to block all of that out. I mean, it's there on a basal and cellular level. I mean, when you run across it, and I think when I say things like people know, they understand, but they're just in their capacity right now, I truly believe that on all levels. I know that they know, you know, but they just can't.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you don't have the grammar, if you don't have the lexicon or the vocabulary,
sure, some don't even have the vocab for
experience,
Yes.
how are you going to quantify that? How are you going to communicate
Explain it?
How are you going to process it?
But you don't, I wish they knew they didn't need to. You don't need to. I mean,
you know,
your need is for you. It's not for me.
Right, but like, how can we have this conversation that we're having right now without some means? Like, we need shared references.
We
need shared understanding.
We are. We do.
Well, we're kind of brute forcing our way through it right now.
But
you know,
not,
it's like
the why and the why and the how don't really matter. You know, that'll figure itself out in the works. It just will. You have to know it. I mean,
I've spent my life meeting people that it's like, if somebody in a white, you know, smock, a lab coat, didn't tell them, yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah,
then
I
it's
know
not.
those. I know those people too.
Totally.
And so, like, one thing I realized a long time ago was, if somebody hasn't understood the thing in the first place, in order to conceptualize and build an experiment, right? Like, say, for example, cosmic rays, right? Mathematics and physics said the sun is shooting out a huge amount of something. We don't know what it is, right? But the math isn't going to lie, okay? And so we can have hunches and make guesses about what this is, but so far we have never detected it, okay? So all we have is this unsettled, you know, we've got this equation that's telling us a thing, and we don't know how to process that. We don't have a set of references. We don't have a grammar about it, okay? And so, you know, we don't have that basic knowledge set about it. And so we can't do anything with it, right? And then a guy by the name of Millikan says, well, what do we know? You know, this particle, we assume it's a particle, we assume it has a charge. And so he builds a thing that any of us could build in our garage, a cloud chamber, you know, filled with a oil droplet mist that has a charge running through it. And he's like, well, if that's correct, then these things will be affected by the charge as they come through us, you know, come through this box. And we're talking about particles that can go through the planet without slowing down. Like, literally are going right through us right now, and we don't know it, you know. And the sun is just putting out these cosmic rays, right? And so he develops, you know, the Millikan chamber, and boom, instantly it's like, oh, and there they are, you know. It's like they're affected by the charged particles in here, and you can see the track they make, and got a Nobel Prize for it, you know. But until he came up with enough of a hunch, an educated guess, to conceive of an experiment, that didn't exist. It wasn't real.
Okay, and then how the fuck do you conceive that there are these particles that are going through us that we can't even see?
Without even slowing down.
Where do you even think to begin to think about things like that?
Yeah, it was the math first. You know, it was like the math said,
always the math.
You know, based on all these observations, all these measurements we've taken of the sun, it's telling us there's something we haven't accounted for yet.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people had to have a lot of conversations and a lot of, you know, well, what do you think? And I said, what about if it's like, you know, until eventually somebody's got enough of a hunch, and then goes the extra step of conceiving an experiment.
How many times has it been accidental? But that's what I mean about, like, the why or the how, you know? I mean...
Well, the accidental leads you to a hunch.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the hunch leads you to, well, if that, then this.
An intentional.
Right, and then you start.
Intentional pathway.
Then you start doing tests and making experiments, and we all do that on our own on a daily basis. And science is just a formalization of that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know, it reminds me too is like, you know, ayahuasca down in South America. Like the tribes have been asked, like, where did you come up with? Because it's like, I don't know how familiar you are with ayahuasca. Yeah. So it's two plants that don't even necessarily grow next to each other, that are combined in a very specific way, a specific recipe that produces this like incredible like hallucinogenic experience. And they've asked these tribes, like, well, where did you get this information? And every single time they say, well, the plants told us.
They did.
Yeah.
And
Cellular
just
memory.
Within the last several years, they have just started to discover that plants actually communicate with each other over distance.
Right.
And if these plants, you know, have a pathogen or a, you know, predator or whatever, these other plants will react to it, even though it hasn't happened to them yet. But their chemistry is already changing, you know, as soon as the first one gets affected.
Yep.
So it's like there's an internet that's always been here around us.
The mycelium.
You know,
They've just shown that even your house plants that you take care of are aware of you. They can sense you from 20 yards away or something. When you're coming, because you're their caretaker, and they associate you with the water and the fertilizer or whatever, that they can sense. Like even if you're off your schedule, they have, you know, all these sensors on the plants, and they know when you're coming.
But it's like our ancestors sensed and felt these things.
I don't know what they mean when they say we've just discovered.
Well, we just quantified, we've just measured, we've just, you know, devised experiments.
And I've seen this. There was, you know, it was in Bloomingdale. I was at an event at One Love Oasis, and somebody had brought like a circuit with a speaker on it. They like hooked it up to the leaves of the plants, and every time somebody walked in, it'd be like through the speaker. Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fascinating.
And it's the effect that person has on the plant that's modulating that signal.
I do wish I could hear what my plants like. What is the sound they make? But I know when I come into my house plant room, it's like they're giving me something way more than I'm giving them. Everybody that goes into it's my dining room. It's where I spend a lot of time crafting, and it's where all my herbs are. It's where everything, if I could blow the wall out and it wasn't load bearing, it's where everything would live. But it's just the best.
On some level, though, you've always been reacting to that, as have we all.
Yes.
And, you know, because we need to be hit over the head, we need to be, like, you know, given the okay by somebody with a you know, lab coat on.
I don't need them.
You know, well, I mean, that's the thing I hope we're all starting to learn, is this worship of quote-unquote experts who are mostly a bunch of dunces, you know.
If it makes you feel better, and it doesn't seem like it does, because I've said it a few times, and I could be wrong, but the way I feel about it is we innately know it. Even the people that you don't think ever will do. And though they might not express it in a way that is what you would consider accepting, maybe that's some of what the anger is. Do you get it?
What anger?
Like the anger. If you can't feel how angry some people are right now, how hostile things are, it's because they can't, on a level plane, see it, break down the filters, however you want to put it, look at themselves in the mirror. They can't even understand what's going on, but they feel it.
Well, you know, and there again, you've just pretty much described some research that was not that long ago done. I think it was at Yale, but actually it's been a while. But some experiments were devised, you know, that the upshot of what they learned from them is if people want something and lack the ability to get it, they, you know, react by getting angry.
Sure.
And almost exclusively, like, they discovered, okay, anger is the result of frustration. You know, wanting but not being able to fill that want, you know, to satisfy that. that's how humans react. We get pissed off. I'm thirsty and I can't get anything to drink, or whatever
And then
whatever
we're
it is.
told that like anger is this like bad, evil emotion, especially women, and so we like pull it all down and like I'm not angry,
Right.
and then we have these like body problems and all this like stuff that comes up, because we're just like it's demonized to be angry.
Yeah,
and
well,
to
we
have
had that
anger.
conversation yesterday about toxic masculinity,
Yeah.
where young men are just in every way like suppressed from
Yes.
from channeling that
Yes.
that energy, that
Yeah.
like hostility, that all that testosterone just burning through your
And
your
being
system.
shamed for it.
They're oh, you're bad, you're wrong, like as I was saying then, the very closest male friends I've had, almost without exception in my life, it started over a fist fight. And like
Me too.
you will never see a person more honest or more authentic or more who they truly are
Than an angry.
than when they are
They're
throwing
frustrated.
down.
Yeah.
Like somebody who fights dirty.
Yeah.
You will know that. You will not. You dirty bastard! I can't believe you.
I think I black out.
And
I
like,
know I have blacked out before.
but you
been a
really
long
get to
time,
know
but-
somebody very quickly in a fist fight.
Yeah.
And it's just.
We can't
it's
be
like,
friends if I can't punch you.
Yeah.
Well, and he can take a punch, so in a pinch, like, this
And
is
then
somebody I
get
want to
up
have on
and,
my.
like, either talk about it or not talk about it, and things will be okay.
I think evolutionarily, I think there's so much to that. I think it's like, okay, this is a guy I want to have on my team, when shit gets real.
Yeah.
Because I know this guy doesn't run away. Like, if he says something, he means it, and he's willing to put his fist in his face in the same place over it. Like,
I have a hypothesis about some of these older people with dementia that are angry.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that those are often people that have suppressed
Tamped
their
it down.
anger throughout their entire lives, and then now they have that lack of filter to hold it back.
Yeah,
and
they
they're
forget
just
to keep
spewing it.
the cork in the bottle.
I have a story for you
Yeah.
that would actually solidify that. So my grandma had Alzheimer's, and she was the matriarch of, good God, I think there were 6 children, and they were farmers, and they raised potatoes and whatnot. And anyway, she did all of the things that the matriarch would do. She went in the morning and worked in the fields, and then she'd come in right before lunch and get everything ready, and she had this whole routine, and they had the canning stocks and all of that, and she got Alzheimer's, and they kept her in her home as long as they could, right? But I have distinct memories of my grandma washing dishes as she was
Washing, my dad used to say
washing
the same way.
dishes
Washing.
at the sink, and the entire household top notch. I was raised in such weird climates on both sides of my family. Top notch, everybody talking in their own. You know what I mean. I mean,
I know
you see
exactly
some of
what
it.
you mean.
You see some of it in me. It's like I'm not trying to compete. I'm trying to, but maybe it is a little bit, right? I just
There's a lot of that in big families.
realized she had her fucking hearing aids off. So she's just blindly washing dishes. I never knew that for years until I was having a conversation with her and she didn't turn around. But anyways, in her Alzheimer's state, she got more and more confrontational. First verbally. I remember we were sitting at a restaurant in Bangor about to have breakfast, and this was in the early couple of years, and she, a large woman walked in to eat breakfast, and she said, I don't think she needs breakfast. She's had plenty.
Wow.
Very loud. I was like, I
There's
don't know
that filter.
if I should laugh or cry or apologize, but it eventually came to actual physical violence.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, shocker. But, like, I had never known her. She would not be unafraid to use the cat o' nine tails that hung on the wall. but I had never known her. I do not ever remember her raising her voice. I'm sure she did to her own children, but never to me as a grandkid. But in that age, in that phase, like, imagine how much pent up and how much suppression.
Yeah.
So that solidifies your... I always thought that was odd. I always thought it was weird.
Well, I mentioned getting a huge kick out of somebody, and I'm already off to a bad start in expressing this. I should probably phrase it differently, but I know somebody who has had memory loss recently who, you know, the unexpected plus side of it, she forgot she's a hypochondriac, and she's just been a delight ever since.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but...
Yeah.
You know.
I have a friend who chronicled her relationships with a couple of her grandmas. And not exactly like steadily or, you know, really intentionally, but when she would go, she would make these videos, and my God, we're not like besties. I've only known her for less than a decade, but I love watching the videos of her and Grandma Red Pants, Amber, in case you're listening, or whatever she calls her other grandma on the scooter, and both of them are just in the moment. It looks dreamy. I don't know, in some ways. I don't know if that's a good
There's
thing.
much to be said for living in the moment.
Yeah.
Did I say we were going to wind it up or what?
I know. These guys were leaving 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, well,
She's
that's
making
kind of how we roll.
It's
you
hard.
know?
That is.
Yeah,
We're
that's-
generally
how we are.
the first to arrive, last to leave.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep,
too.
same. Yep. But we live here, so we just have to keep everyone here.
It has really been.
Let me get the Kool-Aid.
It really has been a pleasure. It is the space. It really does feel different. It's curated and it's curating you. I mean, I don't know. I tend to use the logical side of my brain more frequently. I'm a born scientist, but at some point in time, I decided that probably isn't how things will. That isn't how I will find things out. It's fine for you. It's fine for you. It's fine for you. I understand the value in experimentation. It's what I did. Nobody loves a good titration like me. But I just don't think that it's important why or how we get to where we were, are, or will be. Just that we do.
Yeah.
And I think I think the other questions are interfering with the process. It's like you not being able to do everything from biochar to curating the ducks to pruning the peaches to we don't need to know why that isn't. It's just too much, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think about like when we're talking about the particles that are going through us all. Like that's really fascinating stuff
Me
to
too.
Me. And I love listening to that stuff. And I want to.
But I don't have the time or space.
You would love it. He talks about quantum mechanics and quantum physics, and it's like really deep stuff. And I'm
fascinating.
It's really. I love listening to it. But in my life, why does it matter? It's the
Dude,
same
I
as,
could veer off into an adventure and be down a hole in a New York minute.
And then I'm the same. And then I
Bye.
apply
I'll take you guys with me.
I apply that to religion too. Everybody has to argue about which religion is right. I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter. Be a decent person. Help people out.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
That's
you know
all
the
you do.
religion
There
that's
is kind
the
of a
wrongest?
commonality. You know?
Yes.
The religion that's the wrongest is the one that's the rightest.
Yeah.
I don't understand that concept. What the fuck is not wrong with that?
Yeah.
Like, is there a God, a Mother Earth, a Buddha, a nature, a cosmic fucking caterpillar, an alien that would create all this shit or make this connectedness and then say, but that guy can't come because he thinks I'm a space monster or she thinks I'm a purple 8-armed figure.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. He can't come on this ship.
Yeah, that was
It's so
I
bizarre to me.
I was raised Catholic, and I had to go to Sunday school, and
Lutheran.
and I was going and I was going
Mortal
to Sunday
enemies.
school, and I just remember, like, I don't remember what age I was, but like I was starting to like have questions about, you know, they were teaching this whole if Jesus wasn't in your heart then you were going to go to hell type stuff. And I asked my Sunday school teacher at the time, I'm like, okay, but what if there's like this kid that's born in the middle of Bumfuck, Africa, and has
Yep, and
never
he
seen
didn't
a white
know.
person
Are
with
you
a
not
Bible.
taking him with
And
you?
yeah, and
Yes,
he's been kind and amazing and beautiful, and so has just lived this life of just like.
But he doesn't
you know
Jesus
but he doesn't
in his
know
heart.
Jesus
But
Christ.
what's your
I'm like, so
definition of
that
Jesus?
person's gonna go get tortured in hell? And my Sunday school teacher just looked at me like.
How does he not know
Well-
Jesus or whatever you want to put his name to it or its name? How can he be kind and beautiful inside and not know what you call Jesus?
Well,
This
And
is
yet you watch the elephant rescue the deer that's stuck in the creek, you know,
Right.
and like,
would have been me.
right, or a person, you
or,
know.
you know,
You,
yeah.
you see that so often that even different species like will intervene and save each other.
Just be
You know?
good. Just be nice. Just be kind. It doesn't matter what label you put on it. It's like with politics too. It's like, oh well, if you're not this color, then you're evil, and you're.
Some of
But
it
you
is
hear so many people saying, "Oh, well, if it weren't for religion, I would just run around like killing everybody and taking their stuff."
Why?
I'd be
Why?
like, "You would?"
What?
Why
'Cause,
would you
damn,
do
I'm
that?
a little
What's
concerned.
wrong with
know?
you?
Like you're
Shit.
telling me more than I think you mean to tell me.
You know what I think? I think is what can I learn? Like my kid the other day, I don't even remember what we were talking about, but the subject amounted to, I told him that in my lifetime I've had more valuable interactions with humans that I would have never thought possible. It wasn't that I didn't see value in them. It's that it was just a corner or a pocket that I might not have thought about. Like I had an interaction with a homeless guy outside of Union Station when I was coming off a trip to come up here and work when I lived down south. And he made eye contact with me, and there's just that happens to me a lot. I don't know if it's just me. I don't think it is, but I think people don't pay attention to it as much. Like we talked about that earlier. It's that feeling or whatever. I don't really look for it, but it's just a natural, normal thing to me. Anyways, I said, "How are you doing today?" And he goes, "I needed directions," and I could see the bustling people around me, the people that looked like the normies weren't gonna. Why would I bug them? I knew he had availability, and I asked him, I said, "How do I get such and such?" And he's like, "Oh, you go blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Thanks, man." And I was like, "How are you doing today?" He said, "I'm homeless, healthy, and happy."
Oh.
And I was like, "Are you hungry, though?" And he said, "I'm famished." And I was like, "Well, I'm going to go." I think at that time, maybe there was a McDonald's or something back in the train station. Some of my memories are like dreams. That's a whole other podcast, but it's bizarre and I can't quantify it. I could tell you why, but I don't really know how. But so I went back in and I got 2 burgers. And this is the part I didn't tell my kid. I don't know why. It just didn't. They didn't have meat on them. They forgot the beef patties on the fucking burger. I'm trying to feed a homeless guy, and I was like, "Oh shit, man, I'm so sorry." He's like, "These are terrific. This is the best thing I've eaten today." Like a burger with ketchup, onions, and no burger. And he made me a spoon ring that I still have. It's a weird story. It doesn't make any sense, like a lot of things in life don't, but it was a moment in time when I talked to somebody that might have never happened if I hadn't just looked down.
Right.
Yeah, it was something that made a profound impression on me.
Yeah. And did you do it because Jesus told you to?
Yes. Yes, he said to me
And like nothing
in
wrong.
a fever dream.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to like talk down, like, you know, I consider myself a follower of Christ because like Jesus Christ had like his messages were very revolutionary. You know, he was like, F the empire, F the rules,
oh my God,
let's
dude.
get
They crucified
down.
his ass, hung
Yes!
him on a
I
stick,
have a
and
theory.
cut him open.
I have a theory. So the Christians all wear the cross, right? I'm like, why do you wear around the symbol of the thing that killed the person that you're
him.
worshiping?
Yeah, it's like wearing a wrecked car around somebody who lost their kid
Yeah.
in a car crash.
Yeah.
Why
Here's my
would
thought.
anybody want to see that?
It's a threat
Yeah.
to everybody else. It's like, hey, you're like him, this is you. You're going
Right.
to be on the fucking cross.
Right.
Yep.
That's actually one I hadn't heard. I like that. That's actually.
Yeah, I thought of that all the time when I was a kid. I just like
It's
I'm
a reminder.
I'm a very
Yeah.
I'm a very sensitive
promise.
person.
Yeah.
The
I've-
last time we had one of these guys.
Yes.
This is how it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Oh
sure
my God,
Jesus
you
would,
guys,
like,
please
be
stop
like,
with the wasps.
That's not something I want to remember.
They're drawn to you, dudes.
Oh yeah, that time they drove nails through my hands and feet. That was a fun week. Actually, that sounds like something I would say.
Okay, like stingy things.
The stingy things.
Yeah, we do have to
Tell the
get
stingy
on the
things
road.
they don't like you. You don't even
All
need
right,
to
maybe
tell
we
them, just
should-
send it out.
Wrap it up
But
for
they
now.
might still sting you.
Yes.
We will definitely have more of these conversations.
Yeah.
forward to
Thank you guys
Yeah.
a ton.
Yeah, thank you,
Everybody
for
here,
coming.
everybody not here.
Yep.
And next time, you all should come.
Yeah,
In droves.
Yeah.
With your kids.
But we're gonna have Skillshare events that are weekend long like this, and then we're gonna have like one-off events. We've got Women's Circle coming up, Story Medicine Circle, and then we do potlucks every month. So
Second Sunday of every month we do a potluck. It bounces back and forth between lunch and evening potluck,
yeah.
depending on what kids are here.
I'm always happy to help or share, or I am not a gatekeeper for anything that I know ever.
Same.
Ever.
Yeah.
I want everybody to know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Same.
Yeah, and we feel weird like attaching money to it.
No, but you need to some degree, and it's not about the value of the service
Yeah.
you're providing.
It's an
It's
energy
about-
exchange.
It is, and it
Yeah.
costs you.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll cost Liberty probably for days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know.
physically, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
totally. Yeah, we had a lot of sidebar discussions.
Good.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
also, I mean, the electric bill's going to keep coming. And,
Yeah.
all the
And
rest
this
of it.
cost.
The property
Yeah.
taxes
I
don't
mean,
pay
these-
themselves.
Yeah, and this is what
and
we wanted to
time.
do. Spend our
Composting
time-
toilets. I mean,
Yeah.
did you even make?
Yeah. We built it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
one
I know
over
they
here,
didn't
Mike
necessarily.
built.
Some things didn't cost you money, but they cost, like you said, energy. Energy
Yeah.
exchange. It's not about the money.
I remember when I was young, there were years I didn't make as much as we pay in property taxes. So, like, you gotta you've got to attach a cost to this stuff when you make a place.
And the weird thing is, like, we've been doing free events. This is the biggest response we've gotten
Has
was
been
a
to the
week-on
paid.
long thing,
Right.
a paid
Yeah.
event.
But I've been thinking about that, and I'm like, it's because I feel like it's a sign from the universe that we weren't valuing ourselves, and now we are valuing our time and effort, and people are like, okay, yeah, let's do it.
I'll give you a tiny business lesson that several people along the line have told me. So I always like the things that I gave you, the things that I gave you, the things that I've given other people. Sometimes I sell that shit for $6, $8. Those potted perfumes, $3. Someone looked at me not too long ago and said, you are highly undervaluing yourself. And I was like, I understand that, but they really will buy it and pay more if you attach your value to it. Like, that's what it means to you, and you need to intentionally show other people. It could be anything besides a dollar amount. It's the value of the trade,
Yeah.
too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, we love you guys. Thanks. It's been bitchin'.
Thank you for joining us.
It's been real, it's been fun, and it has been real fun. So
Yeah.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us in the forest. If you felt a spark, share this episode and leave a review. It helps grow the mycelial network.
Follow our journey on Facebook and TikTok at Soulfire Forest. And until next time, stay rooted and radiant.